Hello everyone. I'm going to tell you a story from the Bible and then we're going to have a little think about it. And it's about a woman who took a risk. Jesus was in the middle of a huge crowd. She had faith in Jesus. She'd suffered for many, many years from hemorrhaging. And this hemorrhaging not only had made her ill, unwell, but it was also a sign within the Jewish tradition of being unclean. She wouldn't have been able to have worshipped until she had stopped hemorrhaging. It was a personal matter, a deeply personal matter, not easy to share with anybody. The Bible tells us she had tried to get lots of treatment, but the doctors hadn't been able to help her. In fact, they'd probably taken a lot of money and she had been badly mistreated. So here she was in the middle of the crowd, desperate for a healing. If only, she said, I could touch the hem of Jesus' cloak, I would be healed. So she came up behind him and touched him. Well, she says immediately she knew she was healed. She stopped bleeding and she knew that she felt better. Jesus stopped. Who touched me? He said. And the disciples thought this was very funny to ask. After all, he was in the middle of a huge crowd. People were pressing at him from all sides. How could he possibly want to know who had touched him? Loads of people had touched him. But he kept asking, and he kept looking around. And he said he felt something go from him. Some sort of power was taken from him. In the end, the woman owned up. And very ashamed and very shy, she explained her situation to Jesus. And he said, "Your faith has cured you. Go and be happy and be healed." I wonder about that woman. And I wonder about the things that we have difficulty talking about. The problems that we have difficulty speaking about to other people. And how we would long to be healed and long to share some of our problems. Touching is one of the things we can't do at the moment. We miss it terribly. But there are other ways that we can touch people by speaking gently to them over the telephone, by doing kind deeds for them. Notice in the story, the woman didn't actually touch Jesus. She touched his clothes, just the hem of his garment. We too can help other people and touch them, even if we can't meet with them, even if we can't be in the same room as them. And part of our job, even in these difficult times, is to make sure that we reach people and we give them the confidence to share any problems that they have if they choose to do so, to be a support to them. And some of these problems will be difficult. Somebody wrote a hymn, a beautiful hymn, and I'm going to just read it to you now. And it's all about touching. See what you think of this. Christ is the world in which we move. Christ are the folk we are summoned to love. Christ is the voice which calls us to care, and Christ is the one who meets us here. To the lost Christ shows his face. To the unloved he gives his embrace. To those who cry in pain or disgrace, Christ makes with his friends a touching place. Feel for the people we must avoid, strange or bereaved or never employed. Feel for the women and feel for the men who fear that their living is all in vain. Feel for the parents who've lost their child. Feel for the woman whom men have defiled. Feel for the baby for whom there's no breast. And feel for the weary who find no rest. Feel for the lives by life confused, riddled with doubt, in loving abused. Feel for the lonely heart, conscious of sin, which longs to be pure, but fears to begin. Our job then, even in COVID times, is to reach others, to allow them to touch the hem of Jesus' garment, to just for a moment find a healing. And I hope that that is something we will all be able to do.